Steve Yzerman doing? With the Stanley Cup being awarded yesterday, the news is going to come fast and furious with the draft on Friday. It's already Tuesday. And the moves are coming in quickly. Linus Ullmark was traded to the Sens 20 minutes before Game 7. But I wanted to do a video on this one because the Detroit Red Wings made 2 deals today, and they're weird. The first one, not so weird. It's pretty black and white, and I understand it. It's a trade with the Nashville Predators where the Red Wings get Jesse Kiiskinen and a second-round pick this year that is the 53rd overall pick. In return, the Nashville Predators get prospect Andrew Gibson. So, who's Kiiskinen and who's Gibson? Kiiskinen is a Finnish forward who had a pretty good season in Finland this past season, and he was selected in the 3rd round, 68th overall in last year's 2023 NHL draft. Andrew Gibson is a 6'3" defenseman who shoots right. People like those. But strangely, he was selected 42nd overall in the 2nd round of last year's draft in 2023. So this is weird. You know how sometimes at the draft, a team will trade a pick? Let's say it's the, 10th overall pick. They'll trade the 10th overall pick so that they can move up to 8th. And in exchange to move up those couple spots, they'll tie something else to it, like a 2nd rounder or a 3rd round or whatever. One team moves up in the draft, they get a better draft pick. One team moves back in the draft, they get more draft picks. That's kind of what the Detroit Red Wings and Nashville Predators did here, except it's like Detroit moved back in last year's draft and the Preds moved up in last year's draft. Because basically, the Predators get the 42nd overall pick from 2023 in exchange for the 53rd overall pick this year and the 68th overall pick last year. Detroit loses a defensive prospect, but they gain a forward prospect. Nashville loses a forward prospect and gain a defensive prospect. And if that was all the deal was, you can just go, oh, and shrug your shoulders and go about your day. Except that's not where the Red Wings left it. The Red Wings took that 2nd round pick that they got from the Nashville Predators, originally belonging to the Tampa Bay Lightning, because there's nothing the Predators love more than the Tampa Bay Lightning's draft pick. The Red Wings took that 2nd rounder, 53rd overall, and sent it, along with Jake Walman, to the San Jose Sharks. And you might say to yourself, hey, Jake Walman? He's not bad. Wow, that's interesting. What do the Red Wings get in return? I mean, a regular NHL defenseman, along with a 2nd round pick, they must be getting something juicy. You're right. They get $3.4 million in cap space, because that's what Jake Walman made, and nothing else. Yep. That's the trade. The Red Wings send Jake Walman and the 53rd overall pick this year to the San Jose Sharks in exchange for future considerations. Now, future considerations doesn't necessarily mean nothing. It just often means nothing. Future considerations is something you will consider in the future. It's often something like a conditional 7th rounder or 6th rounder, something like that, based on certain easy to meet or impossible to meet conditions, because listen, I just want to get this contract off the books, says one team, and the other team is like, we will gladly take that contract. In this case, it's the San Jose Sharks, who desperately need warm bodies and like a roster. Before the Sharks got Barclay Goodrow off waivers, they were miles and miles and miles beneath the salary cap floor. Forget cap space, they were beneath the cap floor. In fact, without even looking, acquiring Goodrow and acquiring Walman for nothing, the Sharks are still beneath the floor. Like, they have a lot of money that they need to spend to even be cap compliant for next year. Cap compliant, but at the bottom. Walman has a modified no trade clause in his contract, and a contract that runs through this next season and the season after, making $3.4 million against the cap. And offensively, Walman has easily the weirdest stat line I've ever seen on a defenseman. Walman played 63 games last season with the Detroit Red Wings. Once again, as a defenseman, he had 12 goals, wow, and 9 assists. What? Have you ever seen, I've never seen, a defenseman in the NHL who hit double-digit goals and single-digit assists? He has the stats of like a goal-suck sniping winger, but on D. Obviously, that's not all there is to defense, but you don't typically see teams tying an asset to a defenseman who scored double-digit goals this past season and getting nothing in return. So, do the Detroit Red Wings think Jake Walman is bad and sucks and makes the Red Wings worse? I find that hard to believe. Listen, he doesn't have to be your favorite player, but at $3.4 million, there are far worse defensemen in this league making far more. The Red Wings have lots of bizarrely kind of pricey, not too pricey, but like overpaid defenseman. Ben Sherratt, would you take him on your team? A lot of you probably would. At 4 point whatever. Justin Hall at 3.4 million, just like Walman. Even Ole Mata at 3. Of course, there's the teeny tiny detail that the Red Wings have to sign Shane Gostisbehere, who had 1 billion points for them this past season before July 1st. Okay, it wasn't 1 billion, but 10 goals and 46 assists for 56 points from your back end. That's really good. It's Shane Gostisbehere. That's a Shane Gostisbehere stat line, right down to the -16 next to it. And, probably more importantly, Moritz Seider does not have a contract right now. Now, if he makes it to July 1st, a team would have to offer sheet him in order to take him away. My guess is that's not going to happen, but my guess is he's not going to come cheap. Red Wings obviously have a lot of holes on their roster right now. Lots of teams do this time of year because free agency is coming up. All these teams are going to quickly plug those holes. The difference is that the Red Wings have nearly $33 million in cap space heading into July 1st now with the Walman deal, which begs the question, what is Steve Yzerman up to? My guess is he didn't just dump Jake Walman because, I don't know, he didn't like the jokes he told or whatever. Picks terrible music on road trips, I don't know. Obviously, on a team like the Detroit Red Wings as well, he's freeing up that cap space to use it. The question is on who? We already talked about Shane Gostisbehere. Maybe they bring him back. I don't know. Maybe they bring back, well, they definitely bring back Moritz Seider at a raise. You still have a lot of money to play with. To me, I see a big gap up front. Patrick Kane was like an underratedly important part of that Detroit Red Wings roster. When he was in the lineup, they were better. When he wasn't, they were worse. And now it doesn't sound like he's coming back. He might, it just doesn't sound like it. We'll see. But is that it? Is it that simple? Is it just Patrick Kane? At this stage in his career? I'm not sure. What about someone who played a hop, skip, and a jump away in Sarnia, upcoming free agent Steven Stamkos? Oh, I said it. Oh, yeah. This dude seems to be the free space in any conversation where a team has a lot of money that they want to spend on a forward. Why not Jake Gensel? Why not? The answer is Jake Gensel might not want to go there because the Red Wings missed the playoffs this past year, but why not Jake Gensel? Listen, Red Wings fans, I don't know if you like Steve Yzerman as a general manager. I don't know if you don't like him, but I will say as a neutral fan, this dude rules. He's got itchy feet. He's always fidgeting. He is always doing something with his roster, and I think over the next few days, which is just going to be absolutely ridiculous, heading into the buyout season and the draft and free agency, all of those things happen within a week of the words I am speaking. I think Steve Yzerman is going to be a very busy bee. Now, any San Jose Sharks fans watching this video, Steve, you spent a lot of time on the Detroit Red Wings here. What about the Sharks? What about the Sharks? They got a living, breathing human being. And that is what they wanted. Steve, that's a little disrespectful. The team they iced last year was disrespectful. So, what do you think about this series of deals from the Detroit Red Wings? Let me know in a comment box down below. But for now, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe to SDPN because we're going to be real busy over the next few days. Tell all your friends. SDPN is your place to be for the draft. We got a live stream for night 1. Day 2 of the draft, we're going to have lots of videos that day. And free agency, we're going to have videos all day long, culminating with a live recording of the Steve Dangle podcast, a live stream after 5 o'clock on the day that free agency opens. It's silly. We recorded a podcast right before this video. We do, actually. We got a lot going on!